Hi everyone, welcome to week 3. This week is going to be pretty similar to the previous weeks in that we have both a discussion board and an assignment. I thought I would go through both of those with you. We do have some information that you'll kind of hopefully get some value in that we're going to cover this week. So for our initial post, you're going to be looking for a news article that discusses a social services business failure or closure. This could be any business, it could be local, or it could be national. The news article does not need to be peer reviewed. It can just be, something from your newspaper or something from the local news. Blockbuster is a good one that is something that people still discuss today because it failed, just because it did not address changes in technology. Then the second part is assume the business was in a perfectly competitive market. How do these firms determine price and profit maximizing output levels? How did these conditions affect the decision to close? So a perfectly competitive market is one that's probably different from most markets. In these kinds of markets, there are many buyers and sellers. The goods are offered by the various sellers that are largely the same, and firms can freely enter or exit the market. One that we think of here is the production of cereal grains like wheat, corn, rice, fruits and vegetables, beef. Firms will largely sell the same thing. If you had a hamburger in a bowl and you had another come in, they're largely the same. Same way with dairy products. You'll see that with our wheat products. A lot of these goods are given a price. The firms are called price takers. That means they take the price given to them and they are not able to make their own price. You're going to have many buyers in these markets because just the commodity nature of the product. Now, there are some things to remember. These are going to be important when you're doing this assignment as well as when you're doing your other assignment for the week. So they're good for both discussion board and assignment. When the price is greater than your average total cost, you're going to earn a profit. When price is equal, you're going to earn zero economic profit. This means you get a salary if you're the owner, you're going to pay all your bills, and that's it. And that's going to be actually your goal. It sounds kind of depressing, but that is the goal of these firms. If the price is less than your average total cost, you're going to have a loss. In the short run, you're going to be okay if you can pay for your variable costs. A variable cost is the cost that you pay for each additional unit. So if we made hamburgers, it would be our hamburger and our buns and stuff like that. Whereas our fixed costs would be like our equipment and the facility that we're operating in, that sort of thing. And so the long run, we're wanting zero economic profit. The short and long run are usually discussed not as an actual time frame. So it's not going to be like short run is 3 months, long run is more than 3 months. It's going to be what items are variable. In the short run, your only variable item is going to be your labor. So that's why when you see an economic downturn, really the first and majority thing you're going to see is layoffs. And that kind of signifies, we're having issues paying our bills. You're going to want to produce where marginal revenue is equal to marginal costs. If it's greater than the cost, you're going to increase your output. If your costs are greater than your revenue, you're going to decrease output. At the profit maximizing level, marginal revenue equals marginal costs. And you're going to need to know this for the assignment as well. So here's an example of somebody's post from another term. And I thought this was just a really good example of some of these concepts discussed a specific closure of a hospital. And then in the second part of the post, it talks about the perfectly competitive firms. And I'm going to load this PowerPoint if you wanted to take a look at that as you are writing to kind of get an idea of what others have talked about in the past. Here's another example of an initial post. I really like this part here, so I wanted to highlight it. Perfectly competitive firms have no control over and must accept the price of the product. It's determined by market supply and demand. In the short run, the perfectly competitive firm will seek the quantity of output where profits are the greatest, or if profits are not possible, where losses are the lowest. This is a great thing from the text, just things you should remember, and this is about Toys R Us. And then here's a good example of a reply. Note how they kind of talked about the other person's post, gave some further information, and asked something at the end about their post. That shows excitement for the topic, and it gives kind of an idea of how you could further expand that post in the future. A reminder for this specific one, you're going to want to use 3 sources, cite and reference using APA format, post on 2 different days. And I put this here, you're not required to post by Wednesday at midnight, but it's recommended so that way others have time to respond to your post. You're going to have an essay this week on competitive market firms, and you're going to look at profit maximizing levels. According to this article, the main drivers of healthcare are labor and goods, including pharmaceuticals, devices, and administrative costs. This also is incurred in higher education as well. So you're going to imagine you're a CFO of a large facility, either in healthcare, education, or arts, and then you're going to go over what cost-cutting measures would you propose to address the excessive cost of operating the facility while you're still maintaining your quality of services. A lot of people choose their current business. And so that's something you're definitely encouraged to do so. So for the first part of the essay, I want you to talk about what we just talked about earlier about perfectly competitive firms. I wrote it here again. You're going to want to note that price will be equal to marginal cost. The profit maximizing level of output is where marginal revenue equals marginal cost, and your long run goal is to make 0 economic profit. Now, so remember, this is cost cutting. So I have some ideas. These can be yours or not, just to kind of get you started thinking about it. For a medical facility, you may want to reduce overtime hours, hire more actual nurses versus traveling nurses, buy items in bulk, consider economies of scale. That would be like buying up different facilities around you to try to exercise some monopoly power. At a university, you could hire more adjunct as opposed to full-time instructors. Remember, we cannot raise the prices. We are a price taker, and I think that's why they wanted you to do it this way. So you're looking at ways to cut costs without just raising your prices. So that should be something to think about. Remember that you can submit this assignment for up to 7 days late with a 5% dock each day. The late discussion boards are typically not accepted. I hope this helps you come up with some ideas for your work this week. I hope you have a wonderful week.